It's in a humble little cardboard box. It looks suspiciously like every other salt on Earth, and yet somehow it has built a reputation like it wears a tiny chef's jacket and has its own fan club. Recipes demand it, chefs defend it like family, and the name alone makes it sound like it has a spiritual advisor. But what is this mysterious, chunky, overly respected grain? And why does everyone act like their food will fall apart without it? I'm Professor Everything, and today we'll be answering the question, what is kosher salt? Right here on Explaining Everything. Let's clear up the biggest misunderstanding right away. Kosher salt is not automatically holy salt. It doesn't come from a sacred mountain. It doesn't graduate from salt seminary. The word kosher here doesn't describe what the salt is. It describes what the salt does. Kosher salt earned its name from the koshering process, a preparation method used in traditional Jewish food laws to remove surface blood from meat. And for that job, you need salt with big, grabby crystals that can pull moisture out quickly. That's where kosher salt came in like a tiny mineral superhero. Chemically, kosher salt is still good old sodium chloride, the same basic substance as table salt and sea salt. No molecular makeover, no magical formula. The difference is all about the shape and size of the crystals. Unlike table salt, which is finely ground into microscopic sand, kosher salt forms large, flaky, uneven crystals. Picture snowflakes instead of dust. That chunky structure is why it works so well for the koshering process, and also why people started to notice that it behaves differently when you pinch it, sprinkle it, and measure it. So the name comes from a job it was good at, not because it lives a morally upright lifestyle. Here's the fun plot twist. Kosher salt doesn't really taste different from regular salt at a chemical level. Same sodium, same chloride, but your mouth is easily fooled by physics. Those big, flaky crystals dissolve differently on the tongue. Instead of instantly blasting you with saltiness like table salt does, kosher salt gives a slower, gentler release. That makes the salt flavor feel cleaner and less aggressive, even though it's technically the same stuff. There's also a sneaky measurement effect happening, because kosher salt crystals are larger and less dense. 1 teaspoon of kosher salt actually contains less total salt than 1 teaspoon of finely packed table salt. That's why recipes that switch between them can suddenly go off the rails. Same volume, different punch. Another big difference is iodine. Most table salt is fortified with iodine, which helps prevent thyroid problems. Kosher salt usually doesn't include it. That doesn't make kosher salt better or worse. It just makes it different. The lack of iodine can remove a faint metallic aftertaste that some people notice in iodized salt, which is one reason kosher salt picked up a reputation for tasting cleaner. So between crystal size, density, and additives, kosher salt isn't chemically special, but texturally, it's living a completely different salt life. If you've ever seen a blue box or a red box of kosher salt, you've already met the 2 silent giants of this world. One is made by Morton and the other by Diamond Crystal. Both say kosher salt on the label. Both look similar, and both behave just differently enough to cause chaos in recipes. Morton kosher salt forms denser, more compact crystals. Diamond crystal forms lighter, airier flakes. That means if you measure both by volume, say 1 tablespoon, you will end up with different amounts of actual salt. Morton will hit harder. Diamond Crystal will feel milder at the same measurement. Same name, same purpose, totally different outcomes. This is why experienced cooks start sounding unhinged when they specify use Diamond Crystal. It's not brand snobbery, it's survival. Because if you swap brands without adjusting measurements, your food can suddenly go from perfectly seasoned to I can feel my blood pressure rising in real time. Kosher salt has picked up a strange collection of internet myths over the years, and it's time to put on our tiny salt detective hats. First myth: kosher salt is blessed. It is not. It is industrially mined, crushed, sorted by size, and boxed by machines that feel no spiritual fulfillment whatsoever. Second myth: kosher salt is healthier. Not exactly. Sodium is sodium. Your body does not care if it arrived via fancy flakes or dusty grains. The only real nutritional difference, again, is the lack of iodine in most kosher salt. A trade-off, not a health upgrade. Third myth: kosher salt is sea salt. Nope. Most kosher salt is mined from underground salt deposits, just like table salt. It does not come from ocean water unless the label explicitly says it does. The truth is way less dramatic. Kosher salt is simply salt shaped for a specific job, with a texture that people ended up loving for everyday control and consistency. It lives in that weird zone where science, tradition, physics, and human habit all collide inside a small cardboard box on your counter. And somehow, a chunkier version of the most common mineral on Earth managed to confuse millions of people just by being named after a job it once did very well. Which honestly feels like the most on-brand thing salt could possibly do. If you learned something new, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know what you're cooking up next. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.